Hello there. Welcome to another Monday night stream. Hello there. Discussing behind the scenes of Heir to the Empire. I'll give people a few minutes to join us as usual before I get started and before I explain what I'm going to be doing this evening. But it's nice to be back. Logan, welcome. Berserker, thank you so much. Ben, welcome. A few minutes late starting today. I discovered I can use this software to create bits of landscape, not just planets. So I was having a quick play around with that before realising that I should probably get started with the stream. But that will be a feature that's very useful. 8 people, welcome. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Ivory Booker, thank you so much. I'm glad that you're enjoying the series. I hope you enjoy the streams. Floopy, welcome. Well, Logan, first you need planets to destroy before you can destroy them. So those of you who watched last week's stream know that I was reworking the shots of Merca from orbit for chapter 3, so that when I come back to Merca later on in the series, it'll be looking really nice with all the more enhanced lighting effects. But of course the planet model I was using for Merca didn't look so good in those new settings. The Star Destroyer did, but the planet itself didn't. So what I'm going to do now is to create an updated planet texture, planet image, which I can replace in that shot. So I can get rid of the old planet model and put in this new one. Floopy, thank you for asking. My leg is doing much better. Tomorrow I hope to do the motion capture for chapter 12. Luckily every character in it sits down, which I think helps. But yeah, my leg's doing much better. I feel like I can walk around normally for the most part. Still not quite perfect, but much better than it was. And James, again, thank you for asking. I guess I just answered your question. That's a very good quote for Darth Vader, Berserker of Isengard. So yeah, Grand Designer is a piece of software which I found on Steam a couple of years ago, and this is the default planet it comes up with when you load it up. And obviously this is not what Merca looks like, so we'll be going through the process of turning this barren rock into a jungle planet that we know Merca to be. Now, we don't really have any... There isn't really much in the way of official images for what Merca looks like, so we're going to go with green. James, Thrawn is voiced by Robert S. Benjamin. He's done some voice work for me before. He played Thrawn in a much older fan film that I did called Imperials, and he's been in my original series Chronicles of Humanity. Obviously not as Thrawn, but he's voiced many characters in that, and he's a very talented voice actor, and it's always a pleasure to work with him. Right, so when we get to 10 past, I think I'll get started. It's always good to give people a few minutes to join us here. And I know that as we go on, more people will join us, but as well, so which is nice. I've said it before, but it's always nice to see regulars. Floopy. Yeah, it's kind of... I'm imagining it's like Earth-like, but with less ocean. There will be ocean, but not quite as extensive as Earth. Hoppy, that's very kind of you. Okay, so we're at 10 minutes past. I think that's plenty of time to have a little chat. So we're going to get started. Now, it has been a little while since I used this, so you might need to bear with me as I remind myself of all the settings. Right, just 1 second. Okay. Well, first we're going to get rid of the background, because what I want is the planet, but I don't need any stars or anything, because that will be handled in iClone. So we'll get rid of... No, we want the lighting. We want the stars off, and we don't want to show the sun. Now there's various settings here. To change the lighting. Just showing it off now. Obviously, when I'm creating the surface of the planet, I kind of need to be able to see it, and then we'll worry about the lighting afterwards. But being able to see at least one side of the planet will help me get this right. So, some special effects we can add later. Now, there are various types of... this is a 3D model, but what I'm going to do is render it as a 2D image and then place it behind the Star Destroyer. Because it looks better than a 3D model would when I do it this way. It's basically what they did in the original trilogy. Excuse me. Especially in the Battle of Endor, when you see all the ships flying around, there's a painting of Endor behind the ships, and this is basically the same idea, except it's all done virtually rather than in compositing models and effects. But the idea is to kind of recreate that kind of style. Burning Earth Productions, that's so very kind of you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it would be nice to get better soon. So I had a couple of biscuits, cookies before I started, and I got something stuck in my throat. Hold on. Here we go. Just had a bit of water. Hopefully that helps. I can change its shape. So there's different kind of noise to... So at the moment I'm just dealing with rock, and there's different types of noise to give it very different shapes. Well, if that happens, I'll happily donate my leg, but hopefully that doesn't happen. There's very exotic designs here. Yeah, excuse me. Quite interested to see where that goes. Now, there are all these other settings, and I don't actually know what all of them do, which should make for an interesting stream as I play around with them. It's kind of just... it kind of gives it a very organic look. Just give me a couple of ideas. I've obviously got seed, which changes the... for any kind of procedural generation, you'll have a seed to randomize the way it looks. Alright, so we're going to move on down. Burning Earth Productions, I see you're familiar with the software. I do enjoy playing around with it, but I don't know what everything does. Now that could be useful. I didn't even know this was down here, because normally I play with the noise settings and then I move on to the next bit. So let's have a look. Actually, since you're here, if I do get stuck, I will ask you. Since that doesn't... Oh, I get it. Oh, well, this is going to be fairly Earth-like. Hello? Hello, Ho. I injured my knee a couple of weeks ago. I suspect it was repairing the vacuum cleaner. And I found it very difficult to walk around and even sit at the computer for long periods of time. Oh yes, I forgot. I enabled super chat and then I forgot to mention it. I thought it was going to be this long, complicated process, and then it wasn't. I just had to click a few buttons. For some reason, I thought I was going to have to design all these stickers and everything, but I had this idea. I was going to do Thrawn colour. I was going to do a blue with red and a blue with white, but I guess I don't have any control over that. But yeah, super chat's been enabled for those who wish to use it. Thank you. My leg is getting much better. It's not quite fully healed yet, but I am able to walk around normally at last, which is quite nice. My knee still feels a little bit off, but much better. And then tomorrow I'm hoping to do the motion capture for chapter 12. And when I read through the script again to remind myself what it involves, every single character is sitting down, which I think will make it just a little bit easier. So yeah, we've got an Earth-like planet, so we're going to start with Earth-like colours for the ground. That doesn't seem to be changing anything. In the middle here. This higher ground here, yes, the high ground, isn't changing colour. I guess it doesn't really matter that much because I'm going to be adding vegetation to it later on. So I guess I can come back to that. We'll play with this. Interesting. Earth is a small planet that's not very interesting. We don't have to worry too much about it in Star Wars. So these are the settings I usually play around with. I have a feeling I'm going to go back to relief after I'm done and change some things around. But this is quite interesting. And then we've got more detail to, I guess, add more detail. This planet now looks kind of alive. Like, it's a very organic. I mean, I guess planets are organic, but in a way that you don't really expect the planet to look. It's kind of like it's been infested by something, like the Zerg. Now we've got craters and micro craters, but I'm not going to worry about those too much. And features, you can add cities and stuff like that. But when I've added them before, I don't really like the way they look. like they're too big. I'll put one in just to show you. It's like, I mean, it's massive and it's too big for a planet like this. Ben, yes, I am a fan of the MCU. In fact, I'm actually wearing an Avengers t-shirt right now. I watched Endgame yesterday. The second time I've watched it. First time in the cinema, and then when was it? Back in November, I decided to watch one MCU film a week, just to help get through winter with lockdown and all that kind of stuff. And I've got to Endgame yesterday, and excellent film, but very bit hard to watch, in a good way. Right, I'm going to add some water. The water level's a bit low. And that's a bit too much water for what I was imagining. Flipper, yes I am. Although, I don't really want it to end. I'm enjoying it a lot. But I know that Falcon the Winter Soldier begins, I think it's the week after, or a 2-week gap, I don't know. Captain Spire, thank you. If you ever see a good adaptation story of the Rat Ghoul? No, I haven't. Are you asking if I know of one, or is there one that I haven't seen? I'm playing around with these settings, I don't know what they all do. Nope. YouTube is not. Oh, because this is so static. It's YouTube's giving me an error message saying it's not receiving any video. So hopefully that's just because it's a static image and not a glitch with YouTube. So if you are having any problems with the stream, I do apologise. That's a thing to look at. It says there might be some buffering. So if it is buffering, I do apologise. I'm not really sure I can do. Oh, you are seeing it. Excellent. So do I know? Just when you know of Vector's law. No, I'm afraid not. I only know. I've played Knights of the Old Republic, and I have played the Old Republic, which is the only stories I can think of with the rat calls in. Well, I'm glad you're watching it and able to see. The Princess, welcome. Do you still have your snow? So I'm going to come back to the water once I've done the rest of the what I'm doing. I think it needs ice caps, but I don't think it needs ice caps that are quite that big. Let's change the temperature of the planet. Can you make video games like Clone? You cannot, but you can create the characters you create, like with the character creator software, you can import into Unreal and other video game engines, and you can create content to be used in video game engines. Let's go with that one. This is a jungle planet, so it's going to be quite warm. Alright. Looking a bit more jungle-like. Princess, I'm glad the snow's all gone. I saw lots of pictures and news reports about how bad the snow was in Texas and other parts of America. Um, and obviously it caught you guys by surprise. So I think we want that, but we don't want it to be so bright. So I'm glad it's all gone, and hopefully you can get back to a little bit of normality. And yeah, it does use up a lot of memory. Not as much as iClone though. I'm not going to look at this. Alright. Now there was setting. Where is it gone? Shader. That was it. We want to have an atmosphere. Normal Texas. This is why I'm glad I don't live in Texas, because I don't like the heat that much. I guess they do a little bit, but when I add the clouds themselves, that should hopefully clear that up. I want the atmosphere to be a bit, not quite that thick. Well, I hope the next cold front isn't going to be as bad as the one you just experienced. I don't know what all of these things do, so I'm not going to play with them. We're going to add some actual clouds. Those are quite bright. If we go back to shader, you do need a snow speeder. Don't go out on tauntauns. They'll freeze before you go out, before you reach the first marker. We're going to lower the altitude of the clouds a little bit because they're a bit too high. I don't know if I would be very good at making armor, apart from cosplay armor, which is not going to protect you much in battle. Yeah, I'm quite happy with the way this looks. Now, for the most part, I wonder if the green should be darker than this. What do you guys think? I'll play around with some of these other settings. So it should be a darker green. Okay, let's see if I can figure out how to do that. Too dark. Too light. Captain Spire, you mean basically design the land mass yourself? Not as far as I know, but I don't know the ins and outs of it that well. Forest green. Yeah, I think. Just curious what happens. Yeah, I think that's more like it. What do you guys think? Marcus, yeah, I'm going to go back to the water once I've got the land done. I'll go back to the water. Burning Earth Productions, that's useful to know. I'll have to look that up to see what else I can do about it. Now, I've got the sediment, and I do feel that some of this is a little bit too... Right, there we go. Excellent. High praise for all of you guys, and that means a lot to me. Right, so we're going to go back to the water now. And I'm going to play around with some of these water settings and see that that one did absolutely nothing. I can't remember which. Wrong way. Excellent, I'm glad you're liking it. Right, so we're going to mess around with the water. Now keep in mind I'm still learning this, so... Taskmaster is called Grand Designer, and I found it on Steam. I was just seeing what that did. I think we need... There we go. I think that might be a little bit too dark in places, so I'm going to lighten it just a little bit. There we go. So what do you think of that water? I'm getting that error message up again, so I do apologise if it's buffering. Burning Earth Productions, thank you for coming by. Have a good night, and thank you for your tips on how to use this software. That's much appreciated. So yeah, hope to see you next week. Alright, let's have a look at these other settings. Marcus, this, it does, although this is Merca, so you probably don't want to swim in it, because who knows what actually lives in that water and would probably eat you. Well, there was a setting I saw when I was playing around with this the other day. I think actually you don't need it. Right, so saving planet there. And so the next thing to do is move the sun around. Oops. Got to get the right. If you drag on the planet, it turns the planet around. So you need to drag the background. I can if I change the relief. The water Fortska and giant piranhas, probably the same thing. What was I going to play around with? Oh yeah, I can change the noise. Obviously that's a bit too much water. I can adjust the water level. Merkur is a planet. Oh, that's interesting. I think we may have... Actually, from this angle, you don't see too much water. So I think we may use it from here. So if I... Especially if I do that. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. So... I'm going to click this button here. It will generate high-res textures. Which may slow down the stream because it does take a lot of processing power to do this. So if you start buffering, it's just because of this process. Whatever's living in that water, I'm quite happy to stay far away from it and not find out what it is. This might take a couple of minutes. Pete Rages, welcome. It's a little bit slower than usual because I'm running this and I'm streaming at the same time. Yeah, I don't really want to find any piranha Vornskas. There we go, finished. That is the high-res Merkur. So what I do now is save the planet. So I render out some images of this, which I will then take into iClone, and then I'll put them into the background of the planet. It was a scene I was working on last week. So later on, when Merkur comes back into the story, this is going to be the image that you will see. And I want you guys to know that when you see that later on, that you help me come up with the look of the planet. So I do appreciate all of your input, and I'm excited to see how it looks when I get to those chapters of the book. We're also going to be using this to create other planets in the software as well, for the story as well. So if it's somewhere like Tatooine or Coruscant, obviously those have got very established images, so we all know what they look like. But planets like Merkur and Pre-Sitlin and where else do they go? I can't remember now. Planets that are only in the books. This is how I'm going to create them. So now what I'm imagining is something like Jaws, but about Piranha-Vorskes. Of course, you got the John Williams soundtrack. Wayland. I've already made the Wayland images, which were in Chapter 4. So I used this software to create them. And then I tried using a model of the planet for Chapter 3. Yeah, that's right. So I made Mirka in Chapter 3 as a 3D model, and it worked. But when I was updating the lighting, it didn't work as well as I'd have liked. So what I'll do now is to use this instead. So for Wayland, I don't think I liked the way the 3D model looked then. So again, I created a 2D planet to go in the background. But yeah, I'm very happy with this. There was a setting I saw somewhere that stopped the planet, the clouds from moving, which might be handy. Rotation speed. Let's change that to 0. Which is helpful because it means the clouds aren't moving when I'm going to be trying to render them. Help me help you get man flesh. I tend not to eat man flesh myself. Yeah. So I'm just looking at how good this planet looks. That kind of looks kind of misty up here, and I really like that. Kind of adds to the mystery of the place. I'm excited to put this into the iClone now. But the yeah, I'll have to do that and then post a picture on the YouTube community page for the channel once it's in. So yeah, that's how I create planets, and what I might do next week is create another one, because there's quite a few planets in the story that need to be done. So because I've run out of episodes to do commentary on, yeah, it's what I'll probably do is I'll render it with different lighting with the sun in different places, so you kind of get different angles of the planet with different lighting, and then I can play around with it for each individual shot of the planet that's needed. Because obviously the time spent on Mirka is several days, so that's going to spread across many chapters, and we'll see the planet from at different times of day. So I'll need these imaged. It's a bit like the speech from the Wrath of Khan. According to myth, the Earth was created in 6 days. But watch out, here comes Genesis. We'll do it for you in 6 minutes. And now I want to watch Wrath of Khan again. I've seen that film so many times, and yet I can watch it again and again. I can watch it, finish it, and then immediately go back to watch it again if I really wanted to. Which is probably not the best use of my time. So yes, I do like Star Trek as well as Star Wars. Just in case I don't notice that from what I just said. Give me Genesis. Yeah, I suppose you have to watch 3 as well as... You have to watch Search of Spock as well as Wrath of Khan. Bloopers. Don't really have any. So all the voice actors send me dialogue, but they usually edit out their bloopers, so I don't get any to listen to. And the bloopers for motion capture tend not to be that interesting. This is the planet Merca. So if you watched last week's video, I was showing how to update the lighting for the space footage from chapter 3, but I wasn't happy with the way the planet looks, so what I'm doing now is creating a new image of the planet to be used in that. Mr. I, welcome, and Darth Nightwing Phoenix, also welcome. I could create bloopers, but I'm not sure they'd be quite funny if I'm making them up rather than ones that happen naturally. But I guess we'll see what material I have to work with when I finish it. Because at the moment I have very little to create a blooper reel with. Now some of my other projects, they've got bloopers, and if you check out on my channel, there's a blooper playlist, so I suggest you check that out. There's some good ones on there, and I've got some bloopers which I didn't really feel comfortable releasing, but they still entertain me, because I don't really want to spoil the image that some of the people involved with them have. But that's nothing to do with Heir to the Empire. Coco, not really. It's let me think about that. I think the problem I would face is I'm too used to doing my own stuff, so having to answer to someone else would be quite challenging and probably end up getting me fired. Thomas, I'm glad you showed up. Yeah, I do think we're coming to the end of the stream because I've created the planet and exporting it isn't particularly interesting. So I'll be doing that afterwards. So I'll just be taking pictures of the planet from different, with the sun in different angles. I can zoom. I can make cities, but they don't look very good in the software. I'll show you. Let me features. The problem I have with cities is they look too big. For a planet like this size. And this is the way to change that. Also, Merca doesn't really have much in the way of settlements, so you wouldn't really see Oh, there we go. You can change the size of them. That's good. But still, too many for Mirko. The arch thing. I'm looking forward to animating that when I get to it. Thomas, yeah, apparently I am the world maker. Hilliard City. I can zoom in as well, but you kind of it does start to get a little bit blurry because it doesn't redesign the textures to be that good for those. I just noticed the waves move. I didn't see that before. It's interesting. But yeah, it didn't really. It's not really designed for shots that close. I think what they designed it so that people can create planets from this sort of view. I could hide buildings on the planet, but you're not going to be able to see them from the way I'm going to be using the images. So I don't know how big the screens are you're watching, but this is kind of the full planet, which you'll see from the when it goes into the footage. So buildings it wouldn't really show up from here. Sherry, welcome. We are coming to the end of the stream, but when I end it, it takes a few minutes to process, so you should, and then it should get posted on my channel, so you'll be able to catch up. 32-inch screen. Oh, well, I hope the stream looks good on a 32-inch screen. But yeah, so I think I'm going to come to the end of the stream now, because I'm not really sure what else I can talk about or show you guys. But thank you everyone for coming and for offering the feedback on getting this planet to look right. That does mean a lot, and when you see it, when you actually see it in the video, remember that you were here and helped me do that. So I hope you all have a good week. Stay safe. May the force be with you. And I've got to. Oh yeah, a little updates on chapter 12. My knee is feeling much better, so tomorrow I plan to do the motion capture for it, which luckily the characters are all sitting down, so I won't be stressing my leg out doing anything particularly wild. Which is quite nice that worked out that way. So yeah, that's where chapter 12 is at the moment. So may the force be with you all, and see you all next week. Take care.